Good evening, spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Today I want to do this video breaking down the word, because the spoken word is so much more than what we perceive it to be in today's times. Now, we view the word, spoken word, we view it as sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And this is just completely false. See, sticks and stones will break your bones and your bones will heal, but words are the foundation of all physical things. You wouldn't have any physical thing you see without the word, without spoken word. I know we think man created word, but see, man created language. There's a difference between word and language. Man created language, but word is something else. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, there's a Bible verse, John chapter 1, verse 1. And it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And it's a deep thing because a lot of people do not understand what that is saying. They think that that means Jesus. So a lot of people believe that the Word in that Bible verse is speaking of Jesus, because Jesus spoke for God. So this is why people believe this. But people have to understand Jesus was a man, and we know this. Now, before Jesus was born, he was prophesied. So you have to grasp, the word preceded Jesus. It even preceded the prophesying of Jesus. It precedes language. So you got to have language to prophesy something. And then Jesus came after the prophecy, but the word was before all that. The word was before any physical thing you can see. And I'm going to break that down to y'all, exactly what the word is. Because in the beginning, there was the word. And the word was with God, and it was God. And this is basically saying, the Word was with God in the beginning, because the Word is nothing more than the thoughts of a person. So you have to grasp, whatever you perceive God to be, you perceive him to be the beginnings, the creator, the start of all things, a living being, an entity. Whatever you perceive God to be, this is your perception. He's the beginning, the start, the first thought, the first everything. So you have to grasp. How would you know what a person is thinking? You won't until they speak it. So word is nothing more than the physical thoughts of a person. Now, the word isn't completely physical itself, but it can be heard by physical things. So now I can know what's in your mind once you speak it. So you have to grasp. The word is the representation of the thought, the conscious. So in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and it was God. Because every entity or being has a brain or a conscious thoughts. So in the beginning there was God and his conscious, his thoughts. Now you know every physical thing you see in this life was thought of first. We wouldn't have television if someone didn't think of it. So you have to grasp. This is why I said Word is the foundation of all things, because you wouldn't have any physical thing hadn't someone thought of it. And word is nothing more than the thought being expressed to others. So this is how you let people know your thoughts, through the words. So your words is your thoughts. They're one and the same. And this is why it said that in the book. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and it was God. It's letting you know. The conscious, your thoughts, this is you. But it's speaking from the perspective knowing that man is lost in the physical body, and man sees himself as the body, knows nothing of the spirit. So when it's speaking of the spirit of the conscious, what you truly are, it has to speak it in a way you can somehow grasp. So this is why it says, in the beginning was the Word. What is word? Thoughts of whoever's speaking, or whoever's thinking. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. In the beginning was the great conscious. And the thoughts of that great conscious is what created all the things that you see. Meaning, if I create a thing and it creates 50 things, well, this is how. But it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Word is so much more than y'all perceive it to be. You have to understand the foundation and beginnings of things. If word precedes everything physical, and it is the result of everything that you see and have, meaning we have language because of thought. You have physical things that we do and use in this life because of thought. So all things and aspects of the life boils down to the word, which is the thought. Because you think a thing, you tell somebody else, and then they help you do it. Or maybe they do it. However, you can get it to work for yourself. But this is why you express your thoughts, to get them manifested. Tell a person, man, I want a car. And then you get one. So you thought it first. It had to be thought before you could do it. So the word is more powerful and more relevant than anything, being, or physical thing you see. It is the foundation of the life, meaning thought. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Now I want to go a little deeper, because we speak words and we use words with no understanding that words predate all things. So it's the most powerful aspect of the life that you have. Meaning your thoughts, your spoken word, which is your thoughts. This is the most powerful thing you have. What you think is power. Once you speak it, you releasing that power, that energy and force into the life. Because we know all physical things, or all things within the life, are a result of the word. So you existing is a result of someone's words, meaning their thoughts. So you need to look deep where I'm about to take you, because I don't want y'all to get lost. You are a result of someone's words, thoughts. The planet, everything existing, is a result of someone's words and thoughts. So now you have to look at things like a lie. Not a specific lie, but just a lie. When a person tells a lie, it is like calling to the great spirit of lie. So you have to understand, these things exist. You have physical things that exist, and you have unphysical things that exist. So you have to grasp. The thoughts can't be seen or heard, but they exist, but it's unseen. Then you have the word. The word can't be seen, but it can be heard. And then you have the physical things in the life that makes what's said. And now the word and thoughts can be seen. So it's a process. But once you release it and it's done, then you have the physical aspect. So now when you speak a lie, it is like calling out to that being, but that being is not physical. That being is like the word or the thoughts, and it manipulates and creates itself in the life. So you figure every time a person speaks a lie, they're calling on that great spirit. And then what comes with that great spirit? His army. Fear, control, all these different things are living beings in the life. They just unphysical. But they cause their effect through the physical things. So if you speak a lie against somebody, that can physically get them killed. So you can't say, oh, a lie is not a real physical being. It's just a word. Well, it can cause you physical effects in your life. Even within your spirit, nothing may physically happen to you, but the word may just bring your spirit low. The words of the lie. So you have to understand that entity is being manifested into the physical when people speak lies. And it's a deep thing that y'all have to grasp. This is why if you think like back in like maybe ancient times or in voodoo, they always spoke a curse against someone in a sense. It was always spoken. Like Chucky, he had to speak the words for his spirit to go into the doll. You never thought, why couldn't he just think it? Because thinking it is singular. That is your thoughts. But once it's spoken, you're pushing it out into the universe for all things that can hear to hear. And that's when it's real. This is why in the Bible sometimes it'll say, if you think a sin, if you think adulterous thoughts, you've already committed the crime. Because the thoughts, the word, and then the action that follow, meaning the physical thing that's done, they all one. It's just the process of becoming physical. So once you think it, it's only a matter of time before you speak it. Then after that, it's only a matter of time before you do it. Or someone else heard what you said and they do it. So you speak the evil into existence. And this is why in the past, a lie had a name and a title. Satan, Shaitan, whatever was the language of the people, they had a literal name for the word lie. And it had a title, and they viewed it as an entity or a real being because they understood the power of word and how it precedes all things. So if a man is speaking a lie, he is speaking that entity into existence, which would be Satan, the oppressor, the liar. So you have to grasp this was their view on it. It's just like love. That's why in all ancient texts or different cultures in the past, they had many words. They had many different deities representing a word that we have, like love. They had many deities for love. Eros, Pothos, Hathor, Bes, Beset. So every different culture, I just did some Egypt and some Greek, but every different culture had their own different names for the deities. Africans and African culture spread all around it. You had Oshun. So you had a lot of different deities or entities, beings that represented these words like love because they viewed it as a literal person. And it comes in a physical form the same way everything do, through its process. But the thought is always first, then the word. But they're one and the same. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. Y'all are controlled by words. Words bring you fear. You tell a little kid, man, it's a boogeyman in the closet. Don't go in that closet at night. That'll literally have the kid scared to death. You won't go in the closet. You see how the word control It's a deep, cold-blooded thing y'all have to grasp. The word is real. It could control your physical life. Like y'all religions. The words in those books literally control y'all life and y'all aspect and perspective on the life. It's a deep thing. But that's the power of the word. You got to understand the word and understand unphysical, physical. You don't see the hurricane, but the hurricane is a real living being, a real entity. And you know it's real because you see the effects it causes on the physical life. So to think a hurricane ain't a conscious living being, well then why is it consciously destroying physical things all around you? Because we don't control the hurricane, the path it takes. We just track it and follow it. So you have to grasp. Wind blows, but that's a different kind of wind. That wind is making itself take shape and form, but we don't look in that perspective. You see a tornado spinning, taking its shape and its form, and you don't think in that sense. That's a real living entity coming into our existence, taking shape and form. You look at it as something else. So in the past, they had tornadoes and things, but you never hear the words for it. So you think if you go to an ancient Kemetic brother who studies ancient Kemetic science and you ask him, what was the word for tornado? Sandstorm. Desert storm. You know, a desert, I forgot what they call it, but it's basically a tornado. What's the word for that in ancient Chem? Brother probably never even thought to look into that. But they wouldn't find no word. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Because a literal person or entity, a being, would have been that. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. A lot of the deities and beings and gods that they was naming was things like that. The tornadoes, and they named these things literal beings. I mean, look, they destroying physical things around you. How can you think that's not a real living being? If you're sitting on a bench and a tornado whips up and takes its shape and form and then it throws you all the way across the street, what are you going to say? The wind through me? It's like, so you got to really think deep in how lost we are, because a person will really say that. The wind blew me across the street. Huh? You a physical thing. Wind ain't physical. But that wind was. So what was that? Because if I blow hard on you, you'll feel a difference. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. The word is a powerful thing, and a lot of words we speak are literal, physical, well, not physical, but they're literal beings, entities, deities. And when we use the words we use, we bring them into existence, and the more they're used, the more power they get. This is why you have lies controlling the life. Everybody's a liar, and everybody pulls for lies. Grasp how deep and simple it is. And this is why you have that. Everybody's walking around scared of racism or something. Some people scared of homophobic, I'm sorry. Some people homophobic. Everybody got their goofy fears. Because people keep speaking lies and different forces into the life. And they bring their army with it. Just like love. You speak love into existence, and you'll see it begin to shape and change form of the physical existence you live. Speak hate, lies, and things like this into existence, and you see them deities take hold of the existence and do with it as they do. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp, man. Those in the past were way more advanced and smarter and had a better understanding of the life than we do. That's not to say that they fully grasped and understood and they was doing all things right. But y'all truly don't grasp how low in intellect we are in these times. A lot of people think these are the times of enlightenment. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. We are the dumbest of any culture or any nationality of any time period in the life. We are completely lost in sci-fi. We're not on the path of life in reality. We live like in sci-fi. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Anything in this life you want to know, you don't have to die to know if life still exists for you after you die. You don't have to die to know that. You live in life. It's all math equations. You have things that you see dying first, and it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But life is all math equations. Solve the equation. You don't have to be somewhere to solve the equation, because life repeats itself on a bigger scale, but it's still the same. 4, 8, 12, but it's still the same. So you grasp what I'm saying? It's all equations. You just have to grasp. So you don't have to die to know. Just watch my video, Life After Death. You don't have to die. You can use a tree, a piece of fruit, anything to grasp any question you may have. But it's a deep thing. Once stores and businesses begin to take shape and form in a life, now we talking like 1492 times when they begin to take over this continent and put this system in a place where you got stores and working and all this weird stuff. This is when people begin to get lost from the life. And then once TV came about, it was over. Because now images is being painted for you. You're getting images and information about the life. But you live in the life, but you watch the images on the TV as opposed to going outside yourself and learning. You'll watch birds on National Geographic as opposed to just going outside, and it's a deep thing. But the way the stores, the TV, and all these things have been added to the life, it takes y'all away from it. And this is how men begin to not learn anymore. This is why when y'all hear things that they wrote in ancient texts, it kind of makes no sense to y'all. Y'all speak as if y'all grasp, but there's truly no grasping. And it's a deep thing you have to understand. That's why. Because a certain perspective of sci-fi has already been implanted in your brain from television and 1,000 people speaking. See, if there was no television and there was none of these things to distract you, you would be in the life. Everybody would be busy looking and observing and trying to grasp whatever they could grasp, because that's all you could learn from. But it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Once you get a separation from the life, then you start listening to anything you can listen to just to try to get a little speck of knowledge until it gets to the point where you forget where the actual knowledge comes from. Now you're looking online, you're looking on TV, you're looking in books, forgetting this is the same thing. If a man tells you something, if you read a book, if you watch a YouTube channel, this is all the same thing. For some reason, we do the same things and then we think it's different. I learned from a book. That's different than learning from YouTube and Google. Why? Men wrote Google. They wrote the information y'all see on Google. Men wrote that. Everybody in this world is Google. So when y'all Google things, this is how low the intellect is in this time. People Google things and forget that everybody is Google. This is what Google is. The perspectives of anybody that got something loaded on the internet. So if you ask a question, what is God? You might get my answer up there. And 50 other thousand people that may have uploaded something online somewhere saying what God is. So Google is nothing. But people go to Google respectively, as if Google is some God in the sky that knows all things. And it's the funniest thing. People think Google is like some smart nerd downloaded all the information of life into the computer. And that's not how it works. Google is just an empty thing that pulls information from whatever's already online. So there's nothing in Google. You Google something and Google just grabs whatever it can get. A whole bunch of stuff. Here's your answer. So you have to grasp. Now, a book. Same thing. Thoughts of another man. If somebody's standing in your face and they telling you something. So they all the same. And y'all all learn one of these different ways that's all the same. A brother tell a person, man, Google ain't the same as reading a book. Why? It's from a person. The same thing. But for some reason, y'all don't see that. I seen a Kemetic brother and a Hebrew Israelite arguing about if they different. And I'm in my mind like the Hebrew Israelites was in Egypt with the Egyptians. So what the fuck are they talking about? I'm sorry, pardon my language. I'm thinking in my mind, what are they talking about? You couldn't tell the difference between the Egyptians and the Hebrews. But they like, nah. We got to do better. Because these is teachers that was doing this. I couldn't believe it. I was baffled. I said, oh my God, they can't see that they debating over the stupidest thing in the world. But y'all just have to grasp, man. That word, it's a deep thing, man. All things spoken will become physical. So just grasp that. What you think, what you speak, is creates. Your thoughts create you. That's how deep it is. Your thoughts is what creates you and what you are as a person. So the things you fill your thoughts up with is what will groom you into being, looking, and everything how you are. Your thoughts, they form and create how you look. I look how I look because of the way I think. Had I think like, oh man, I'm gonna be a sex symbol. Y'all know I'm sex symbol Solace. But just if I'm like, I'm gonna be a sex symbol, grease my hair all up and get it all curly and make myself pretty like a, you know. But my thoughts ain't like that. So your thoughts form and shape the way you look and everything, the way you are. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp, man. The power of the word is everything. Y'all need to try to start uplifting each other and speaking goodness out into this existence. Because if y'all grasp what I said about the word and then observe the life, and you put things on a balance scale and say how much negative is being spoken compared to how much positive is being spoken. And this will determine what our reality is. Then you can grasp. We live in a negative reality. You got murder every time you turn on the news or something. You got murder, lying, stealing, cheating, horrible things, rape, child abuse, child murder. So it's deep. And like I said, you go back to the words. What is being spoke? What is being thought? Negativity. And it's taking shape and form in life. And then y'all keep saying, man, I don't understand why things is so bad. Because everybody has bad thoughts. And everybody is speaking their negative, bad thoughts. And they're taking shape and form in life. You got to live what you think. You got to live what you speak. This is why I be telling people. People argue with me and say, man, well, how we not going to work? We'll die. You stupid. Whatever you speak, you got to live. So if you feel like, man, ain't nothing we could do, we got to work and be slaves. So then that's your existence. Like, this is why I don't pay that no mind. I'll just block you off. How you think is going to be your reality, and I don't want you around me. With those, I don't want your slave thoughts around me, because your reality is going to be mine if you around me. This is why I block people off on Facebook and things like that I don't know. Y'all hop on my joint, start speaking negatively for no reason. Block you off. You speaking negative things into existence, then you got to live within that. I don't want to. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Y'all really be truly wishing and thinking bad towards people. Forgetting that when you do that, you're bringing it into the existence, and it's like a bullet. It don't have no name. It don't care who you was talking to. These forces don't obey y'all. Once you speak them into existence, they don't care who you was speaking them to attack. You're going to attack everything. That's what they do. So you can think anything you want. I'm going to speak this lie against this nigga. But the lie is going to be in existence. And people going to be lying against you and this person and that person once its lies is brought into the existence. So this is my point. What you speak and think and you put out into the existence, you still have to live amongst it because you're in the existence also. So there's no cheating anything. I killed this brother. Well, now killing's in the life. You may not die, but your kid might get killed. His kid. So once it's in the life, it's like a snowball. It grows. And the only way to get rid of it is you got to start thinking and speaking good thoughts. And pulling for goodness in life, man. But somehow I feel like, honestly, the things I speak is just too far ahead of y'all times. It's a deep thing. You like children's spirits. Y'all just not at a time to grasp. It's no reflecting upon self. Y'all don't reflect upon self and think about things you went through and the wrongs you may have did in those situations to pull for true knowledge and understanding. Y'all do like children's and y'all find people to blame, and it's a deep thing. This is why the truth I speak is hard for a lot of people to accept, and they get maddened because they just don't want to. It's easier to say somebody else is to blame, but in that you get no justice, you get no glory. It's easier to just say I'ma believe in Jesus, even though I know he was a man. I'ma just believe in him because it's easier to believe in him than to actually do the things he did to know as he know. I don't want to do all of that, so I'ma just believe in him. And it's a deep thing because all through the book it say Jesus telling other people, you can be like me. I am just a man. Letting people know, yo, you put this work and you could be wise as I am. People like, nah, I'll just listen to your wisdom and I'll just believe in you and hold your coattail into heaven. So this is the thoughts of men. They don't grasp. He's the smartest man. I don't want to be smart as him. I don't feel like doing all that work. So I'll just make him God and worship him and I probably can get in wherever he going. And it don't work like that. You was born alone. Everywhere you go in this life, you're going alone. When you're dealing with the spirit, which is what you truly are. This is just temporary for this existence. And that's why to go back to the ground where it belongs, you return the property, which we don't. We put it in a box and we try to steal it. Can't take it nowhere you go. Look at the ancient Kemetic people. They buried themselves with gold. The gold's still here. They really thought it